Hi guys, happy Monday. Hold on, I'm way too low. There we go, or too high. Wow, so yeah, my state just shut down. Yeah, everybody. It's just kind of scary. So, alright, so I think this is the last of the goddess worship. It might not be, so here we go. Now, alright, another figurine that exists a bit closer in time to the reclining nudes of the Magdalenian era than those of Greece or Rome is the figure of a reclining woman known as the Sleeping Lady of Malta from the Hypogeum of Halcyone. I butchered that, so correct me. Discovered in a subterranean chamber with a four-columned triathlon altar. So the Sleeping Lady and the other two goddess figurines found with her are examples of both then reclining attitude of the Regeneratrix and the early cave temples that were originally caves and then underground temples. I would love to be in an underground temple. Now, in the side chamber, or the apse, an oracle room that it produces a powerful acoustic resonance from any vocal sound made within it. That'd be amazing too. The subterranean temple, like other temples of the Neolithic, Bronze, and Iron Ages, includes these same elements of the goddess temples of the Paleolithic era. Primarily, the temples were all modeled after the sacred caves, with their walls painted in red ochre to imitate the womb of the goddess as the Regeneratrix. You know how long it took me to try to find that red ochre? Forever. And it's just a dye. Where'd I go? Second, an oracle element, like the area for speeches on the entrance shelf at Les Sièges de Tiac, or the auricular chambers at Hagar. So, Malta and Delphi, Greece, serves as a medium for the voice of the goddess to reach the people. Now, additionally, each temple or cave has an altar for the goddess in the shape of an apse with the claviform and triangle signs. Or, in the case of the temple, a triathlon, often with a large stone in the shape of a cubic triangle. Now, in the Malta temples, the apse is entered through a stone doorway within a circle in the center, perhaps to imitate the cave entrance to the subterranean world. So it does make sense. The temple complex at Hagar is a megalithic temple complex facing the sea on the island of Malta, dating to approximately 3600 BC. So with a trilithon entrance, chambers of red ochre, and doorways that open to small chambers, one of which is an oracle chamber. Most importantly, Hagar was most likely used as a temple of the Regeneratrix associated with the planet Venus. So the temple complex faces the sea on the western side, giving full view of Venus rising from the sea as the evening star, in three distinct positions in relation to the moon. So each of the three chambers on the western side of the temple complex has outside entrances that orient to these celestial sittings. Now, a small semicircular niche housing a triangle altar stone outside the temple faces northeast to cite the solstices, equinoxes, and rising constellations, as well as Venus. Now, on the east side of the temple, the oracle chamber views Venus as the morning star in position from due east. The third sitting of Venus in the east as the morning star is through the main entrance, which faces southeast. So the position of Venus furthest in the east, most likely associated with her beginning and or ending of each complete cycle. The main entrance itself is a spectacular triathlon with 8 entrance stones, the number of a full cycle of Venus in conjunction with 99 moons. Wow. So the approach to the temple is marked by an orthostat and several ruins of older phases of the temple, as well as Ilmisk, or the watering place. So the fact that Hagar went through several stages of completion, each successively more complicated to represent the cycle of Venus more accurately, emphasizes the importance to the ancients of the Regeneratrix in her transformative state. And I think that's what the world is going on right now. the regenerative state. Why am I there? So yeah, it's weird. Where'd I go? Where did I go? Okay, the watering place itself also testifies to the importance of water in the cycles of earthly and celestial life. So it is a flat area near the temple complex that contains eight bell-shaped reservoirs that still retain water. 8, again, noting the Venus cycle. So a monolith is near one well and a replanting fig tree near another. So perhaps signifying the goddess and her water character, and identifying her with the columns of life or the world tree, respectively. So the fig tree is a symbol associated with the regeneratrix in Menon symbology, where the goddess is seen in full glory as she mounts the world tree, depicted as a fig tree on the ring of Minos, worn by the high priestess of Knossos, Crete. So the orthostat, due north of Hagar, the moonlight near one of the wells at the watering place, and several representations of the world tree or world axis present inside the temple complex of Hagar, are a reminder of the journey of the goddess in the night sky, rising from the underworld and traversing the celestial and watery realms. The world tree points to the pole star, or due north, the center of the Numius energy, much like the orthostat of the goddess that guards the temple complex of Hagar. Interesting, isn't it? Now, in a chamber to the left of the main entrance of Hagar is another representation of the world tree, a four-sided pillar. The four-sided pillar has a tree and an owl on each side of its base, a large bowl-shaped basin for water on its top, and cup marks over it. So all these carvings are images to reinforce the importance of the pillar as the world tree and the association of the goddess with the waters of renewal and the new life. Next to the pillar is a carving of a decorated V with spirals on its legs and a bas relief of plant life. So these images also establish the idea of regeneration from a feminine source. Again, the image complex of water represented in the bowl, the bird with a deep-set cup-marked eyes, and the tree work together in the context of growing ideology or language of the goddess in symbolic form. Even the representation of 12 leaves on each side of the pillar might be connected with the 12 moons of the year, connecting the moon with Venus in the night sky. Similar bas reliefs of plant life and spirals, as well as a massive trilithon with a V-shaped stone, are found in other chambers of the temple. Likewise, the doorways of the stone with circles or small openings are reminiscent of the entrance to the womb caves of the Paleolithic. So, very interesting. Finally, the design of the Hagar temple complex itself is reminiscent of the sexual metaphors associated with the goddess of regeneration as Venus. So like the apse, with the immense V sign in the Lascaux cave, and the stalactite of the goddess, and the aroused bull in the Chauvet cave. The temple complex of Hagar has a massive V-shaped stone in front of a trilithon altar, representing the vulva of the goddess. So, moreover, the temple itself is designed for privacy with its 6 separate chambers, 3 on the west for the evening star and 3 on the east for the morning star. The 3 western chambers, each with a separate entrance oriented to 3 of the positions of Venus and the moon when Venus is in the evening star. So intimates the necessity of privacy for fertility and or sexual rites. The 3 chambers on the east are also chambers of the temple. So moreover, the images of reclining goddess, 4 of which were found at Hagar, only serve to add to the overall image of fertility, sex relaxation, spiritual renewal, and the beauty and magnificence of the goddess in her form of the regeneratrix of life. Like most of the temples on Malta, Hagar represents the earliest form of worship of the goddess, where man channeled the energies found in the sacred caves of the Paleolithic era into man-made replicas that served an increasing population who began to formalize and structuralize long, hard beliefs in the sacred nature of the feminine. It's really interesting gathering that energy and putting it into something like that. Very blurry again. There we go. Not blurry at all. But the lights are gonna I don't know what that's about. Now another noteworthy Neolithic passage temple, possibly designed for the emulation and worship of the regeneratrix in association with the planetary cycles of Venus, is Pierre Plates, which is on the eastern side of the Lac-Maquis Peninsula in Brittany, France. At Pierre Plates, the massive stones used for the roof of the chamber are on the ground level, so the passage temple of Pierre's Plates is an underground chamber with 120 angle or tilt, like the tilt of the apse at Les Coqs. So it is an le coude type of dolmen, whose corridor changes direction and slightly enlarges to form a chamber, sometimes separated from the corridor by an upright stone marked with the symbols of the goddess. Like many of the temples of Venus, such as the Temple of Hagar at Malta and the Temple of Aphrodite at Acorinth, Pierre's Plates faces the sea, giving it a spectacular view of the Venus being born by rising from the watery realms. So I would love to visit this temple. This temple, like Hagar, with the other Venus being born by rising from the watery realms, this temple, like Hagar and the other Malta temples to the goddess, is aligned on a southeast-northwest direction, with the entrance facing southeast. The Temple of Malta, designed this way because they are shaped like the body of the goddess, where her womb opens to the southeast, and her head is represented in a northwest. Now at Hagar, the entrance faces the southeast, and the rear faces the northwest, with a broad view of the sea to cite Venus as the evening star from the most reclusive temple chambers. So the shelf at Les Isies de Tiac is also aligned on this axis, and because it is a shelf with a double view like Hagar, Venus is seen rising on both horizons. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, when the temple of the goddess, like Pierre's Plates or Hal, is an angled passage, a subterranean chamber, or a cave, the northwest sitting is not visible from inside the structure, unless there is a shaft like the one in Les Coqs cave. Now, in these cases, the end of the chamber serves as an altar to the goddess. In Hal, the end chamber has an altar that is a massive trilithon structure with a V stone in front of it. And in Chauvet Cave, the end chamber contains a stactylite decorated with the vulva of the goddess. Now, the apse, or turning point, to the altar is used as an oracle chamber, or a private chamber in these passage temples. Now, in Pierre's Plates, the angle contains an apse at the turning point to a back chamber decorated with the feminine signs of the goddess that, as one tourist states, get more erotic the further you get into the monument. Same thing with the temples in the pyramids in Egypt. So these chambers, which are aligned to the cycles of Venus, note both the planets rising from the sea and the goddess's birth from the sea, as well as its appearance in the evening sky as a symbol of beauty and fertility. So, in the northwest chambers, Venus reaches her most spectacular beauty in the night sky, and as the goddess, she is mounting the columns of life, or the world tree, in her epiphany through the realms of her journey. In the east, the birth of the goddess is celebrated, and in the west, the rebirth of the goddess is celebrated in the passage temples. So that's really interesting. Now, besides the passage temples' alignments to Venus in the southeast as the morning star and Venus in the northwest as the evening star, the passage temples are aligned on the earth. So Pierre's Plates on the Lac-Maquis Peninsula, as well as Le Grand Menhir Brissé, the Curcado Passage Mound, Gavernus, and Carnac are all on the latitude of 47 degrees north. The latitude of 47 degrees north at Karnak is where the sun, at both the winter and summer solstices, form a perfect Pythagorean triangle relative to the east-west equinoxial axis of the site. Likewise, Le Grand Menhir Bressay, once the largest known standing stone in Europe, is also the center of a circle of sacred temples. Le Petit Mont, a dolmen transformed by the Romans into a temple for Venus, is in the circle of temples that radiate from Le Grand Menhir. Now, it is an 8-level temple. Wow, that is amazing, with several antechambers and stone carvings similar to those in Pires Plates. So these temples all share a common symbolism in the markings on the temples, which are associated with the goddess as the regeneratrix. More than likely, these temples to the goddess are aligned on Earth with necessary sittings to the solstices, equinoxes, the moon, and Venus to complete a calendar which uses celestial cycles and a symbolic language as a guide to the infinite. Very interesting. Now, they are aligned to the sky, the earth, and the subterranean world simultaneously, and they are united by a single symbolic language. Alright, this is huge. So, we will go on to I don't know what part tomorrow. So, wow. This is just amazing. So, I love it. I love it. I love Venus. You guys know that. So that's why I'm doing this. So yeah. So how are you guys holding up? Are you guys quarantined? We are. Our state just finally officially said, no travel. So, whatever. I need cigarettes and tea candles, so I gotta get those. But alright guys, I love you all, and I hope you guys enjoy, and all my love from Venus all the way down. And I love you all. Stay safe, stay healthy. I love you all. Wash your goddamn hands. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.